Today we're going to be talking about how to handle crossroads you encounter in life. So stick around, that's coming right up. Hi everyone, Coach Eli here, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell, so that way you will not miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. All right, now then, let's get right to it, because this is the third time I've tried to shoot this video over the last week and a half or so. And if you've been following me on my channel, I've made everyone aware that I'm the proud owner of a brand new iPhone 12 Pro Max, top of the line phone with 512 gigabytes of storage space, 6 gigs of RAM, the new, I think it's the A14 processor. And this is just one heck of a phone that can even record 4K at 60 frames per second on the front camera, which is great because in the past you weren't able to do as much with the front selfie camera on the iPhone. And the reason why I prefer to use the front selfie camera is because obviously I can see myself and see, how I'm looking, how I appear in the frame. And I can also see if I turn, I can kind of see, what I'm recording, so I can try to get the best possible recording for you folks. So over the last several weeks, or week and a half or so, I've been playing around with a couple of third-party apps that are supposed to give you better video quality and audio quality. I also bought a new Rode Video Mic L shotgun microphone. It's the Lightning port version, and I had some issues I had to resolve. One being that the windscreen on the Video Mic Me L Lightning port version is about 60% of the size of the former Video Mic Me I used to use when and excuse me, some people are coming by, when I used to have the 3.5 millimeter version for my iPhone. So when I did round two, after making some not mistakes, but after the first time around that I tried to record this video, after it didn't work out, I did round two, and I realized that windscreen doesn't do that well. So now today I'm trying the windscreen for my former microphone. It's a little bit bigger, so we shouldn't have as many wind issues. I'm just walking a little out of my way because I'm trying to avoid people. A lot of people are out here today. I'm recording this the day after Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday. This probably will not be released until sometime later on in the weekend. But let me show you folks some footage here real quick. As some people walk by. Just absolutely amazing. Let me just come over here real quick. I also had some issues with the exposure, the manual exposure settings. So I've realized that I believe the only way I'm going to be able to get this done right while I'm walking is to use auto exposure. Hello. How's it going? Have a good day. A lot of nice people on the trail today. But like I said, I realize I have to use more auto settings when I'm on the fly, because the conditions that I am walking in are going to be brighter in some areas, and other areas they're not going to be as bright. So the auto exposure will do a good job, a decent job of setting the right exposure as I, get to brighter parts of the trail and parts that, are a little bit darker. So there's been a lot that I've had to figure out. But I wanted to do this first video as I've been promising for a while now, at 4K 60 frames per second. This video is going to be probably a little over an hour long, maybe an hour and 20 minutes long. And I'm out here on this trail a little bit later than I normally come. It typically starts getting dark around 5 p.m. And I started right after 4 o'clock at about 4:05. So you might be able to get some cool, we might be able to get some cool shots, as the sun goes down and it gets a little bit darker out here. We'll really test out how good the auto exposure is on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, I used to have the iPhone 6 Plus, and it actually had some decent auto exposure at night. And the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a way better phone. It's 6 generations newer than my former iPhone 6 Plus. So we'll see. It'll probably do a lot better, I'm just assuming. But I'm talking a little too much tech at the beginning here. Let's get right to it. By the way, one more thing I wanted to mention before we get right to it is that in the future, I won't be doing, 1 hour, 1 hour and 20, 1 hour and 30 minute, walking videos in 4K at 60 frames per second. I mean, occasionally I will, but most of the time, these videos will come out maybe like once or twice, sometimes 3 times a week, and they'll be anywhere from 15 to 20 to 30 minutes long. I just wanted to, change things up a little bit here on my channel while I provide you all the best possible information on how to get a better grip on your life, and that way, I can help you accomplish whatever it is that your heart desires. But I wanted to make it more fun. A lot of people get bored with this content, right? Even though it is important, it's part of life. Life's principles are very important for everyone to learn and understand. But I'm trying to, find ways where I can make it more fun and enjoyable for you by, going out in beautiful nature while I talk about these topics that bore most people. Now, there are a lot of people out there that love personal development and they're really into it, but many people are like, oh, I don't need some dude on the internet telling me how to live my life. No, that's not my job. My job's not to tell you how to live your life. My job is to help you accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, whatever your heart desires, based on my past experiences, what I've been through, what I know doesn't work, and what I know works. And in many cases, things that I have accomplished in life, I failed at 5 or 10 times before accomplishing them. So if I can help you accomplish the same things that I failed 5 or 10 times in life before I accomplished them, if I can help you accomplish that on the first or second attempt, isn't that going to save you a lot of time, heartache, and possibly even money? That's what I do. I'm not here to tell people how to live their lives. I'm here to help you get what you want. Now, there are some things that I won't help people with. I'm not the type of coach that, is going to help people, try to pick up women for the wrong reasons and, use women for certain things. I'm not that kind of guy. If you're looking for a coach that's going to teach you, game on, how to manipulate women into the bedroom, that's not me. I will say, though, a lot of the same principles of game for picking up women for one-night stands and stuff like that do apply for, do apply towards getting to know women for the right reasons. But I'm very, very clear about how I present my material. I present my material in ways to help people build relationships with one another. I'm a relationship coach. I'm not a hookup coach. Okay? If you want to hook up, that's fine. That's on you. You can figure that out on your own. If you're looking to create and build sustainable long-term relationships, which many people nowadays don't believe in, for whatever reason, the world's a different place. If you're looking to build those sustainable relationships, that's what I'm here to help you with. Lots of people on the trail today. It is Black Friday. So let's get right to it because I have a lot to talk about. And the sun is going down. Hopefully the auto exposure is doing well. Hopefully the microphone is picking me up pretty well. And the front camera on the iPhone has some pretty decent autofocus. The autofocus just keeps getting better on these things, so I look forward to seeing how this turns out. Hopefully third time's the charm. This is the third time I'm recording this thing. Anyway, the topic of today's video is, how to handle crossroads you encounter in life. One more time, how to handle crossroads you encounter in life. In life, we're going to encounter many crossroads. We're going to, experience many things. Things that we initially thought would go a certain way, and they ended up going the complete opposite way. And why does that happen, in my opinion? It happens because, when we're born with no experience, right? When we come out of our mother's womb, we have no life experience. And the way that we start learning to gain that experience, to start making better decisions and learning how to better handle ourselves around other people, that comes from our mother and our father. Now, another thing in the modern world, nowadays, there are many more broken households than ever before, which is pretty sad. I was fortunate to have both a mother and a father that were happily married until my father passed away almost 12 years ago. And that made a significant difference, a tremendous difference in the way I turned out as a human being and how I look at other people, how I treat people. I was taught to treat people the way I'd want to be treated. And I still live by that principle to these days, or to this day, I mean. But many people don't believe in that principle, or have never learned that principle, or take advantage of people that can pick up that they believe in that principle. If you're too nice, and people pick up on that, and they try to take advantage of your kindness, and you let them, they're going to keep doing that. You got to learn how to balance that when dealing with people. You got to look for the people that are going to genuinely appreciate you being that way, and you have to eliminate and call out the people and walk away from people that are going to try to take advantage of that. But it all starts with your parents and how they raise you. And most importantly, having a complete household, mother, father, happily married, leading by example on how life should be. It makes a tremendous freaking difference. Now, if you come from a broken household, or you were raised by one of your parents instead of both, maybe one of your parents passed away at a young age, maybe you had a father that skipped town, maybe you had a mother that skipped town, maybe both parents skipped town and you're adopted. It doesn't matter. You can still overcome the lessons you didn't learn by having, a solid mother and father growing up. Do what I did because I can help you learn these lessons even as you get older. But you have to be open to that. Lots of people on the trail today. Look at this beautiful scenery here. Isn't this amazing? I gotta show you this. It's freaking amazing. All right. So we all encounter crossroads. And when we hit those crossroads, we typically have a decision to make. Which way are we going to go? Are we going to continue doing what we were doing that really wasn't getting us where we wanted to get to? Or are we going to decide to go a different path, which may involve letting go of some people that were a distraction to allowing us to move forward. I'll tell you folks, I've had to remove some good longtime friends from my life in the past that were holding me back from accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish for myself. And it's not a selfish thing to do that. You know, friends are supposed to accept you for who you are. And you're supposed to accept friends for who they are. Now, you can give each other advice, but that doesn't mean that we have to accept each other's advice. We can agree with it, or, in my opinion, respectfully disagree. But a lot of times, when you're having those conversations with friends, they get upset, they get triggered, they'll start yelling, they'll start creating drama, and that starts to become very, very draining. And I dealt with a lot of that growing up, with friends, some family members, co-workers. I dealt with so much drama in life, leading up all the way to the drama I've been dealing with on YouTube for the last 4 years, between my former channel I used to run and this one. And I finally learned how to handle all online and offline drama. Just ignore it. Don't let it get to you. Become a rock. Become bulletproof. I have this like shield around me that just doesn't allow me to be fazed by it anymore, when it used to faze me a lot in my online life and my offline life in my younger days, and even up until recently. I want to help you all get to that point where anytime you identify people that come into your life that are going to make it more about themselves and not about being fair and equal, and are going to bring more drama in your life than happiness, you got to get rid of those people. And like I said, sometimes you got to get rid of friends that you've been friends with for 5, 10, maybe 15 or 20 years, if they're starting to bring constant drama in your life. I just don't want to deal with drama. I won't. You try to bring drama in my life and you're out. I have no time for it, no energy for it, no patience for it. And I'm firm about that. I want to teach you folks how to be firm about that as well. Just like the trolls out here on YouTube. If you don't feed the trolls, they get bored, they have nothing. They try to make things up for a while, and they don't get the same traction they did when you were feeding into them, and eventually they'll just give up, because if they try to regurgitate the same stuff over and over again because you're not giving them any new material, they're going to look stupid and foolish. But it's up to you to stop feeding into it. And that's going to take some strength for you to ignore a lot of the BS that they're going to try to throw at you once you start ignoring them. When you start ignoring them at first, they're going to try harder to come at you. Because they're not getting the same reaction that they're used to getting from you, so they're going to try harder, they're going to amp things up. And no matter how much they keep amping things up, you've got to just let it go. Ignore it. Move on. Keep your eye on the prize. I think there are some egrets over there. This is absolutely beautiful. This is a great time to actually record this video, even though it's probably going to get dark before I get off this trail. There's the sun. Wow. Whew. Got a lot of people just jogging right now. It's a nice day. It's about 60 degrees out here. So anyway, let's just get right to it. Today, I'm going to be sharing a chronological timeline of crossroads I encountered in my life from my younger days all the way up until right now. Now, I'm not going to share every little aspect, every little crossroad I encountered, because then we'd be here for 4 hours. And it'll be dark by then, and you don't have the patience for that. I have enough storage space to record that amount of 4K 60 frame per second footage on my iPhone, but it would take forever to edit it and upload it and YouTube to process it, and it just wouldn't work out. But I'm going to give you the most important crossroads, the most significant crossroads I encountered, and how I handled them to move past what was holding me back to becoming who I am today. So let's go back to my grammar school days. Okay? In my grammar school days, My parents wanted to put my brother and I in private school. My dad would be like, sons, you're going to go to the best schools. I'm going to work hard to make lots of money to put you to the best schools, so you got to get good grades. I want you, my sons, to be the best. When my dad Dimitri would talk, we would listen. Now, my brother and I wanted to go to public school in our area in Redwood City, because that's where all of our friends were at. We would play Little League Baseball. We would also play AYSO soccer. And all of those people we played Little League Baseball and AYSO soccer with went to the public schools in Redwood City. We wanted to go to school with people we were familiar with, right? But my dad said, no, you're going to go to private school. Okay. So you figure going to private school would be better. You kind of sort of get a little bit of a better education, maybe a little bit. But let me tell you, the kids at private school, most of them are very spoiled and entitled. And a lot of times they're so spoiled and entitled that they're not taught good manners from their parents. And they project those terrible manners onto good people like me. That's what happened to me. Now, I've shared this story before. I'll share it again for this video. I was severely teased and picked on all throughout grammar school. 1st through 8th grade, I was picked on and teased. And I didn't realize why that was happening. I didn't realize why that was happening. And if I look back today, at 46 years old, I'll be 47 next month. If I look back today with what I know today, looking back at what I was dealing with back then, I know exactly what happened. And that's why I like to look back and reflect and share these stories, so hopefully I can help you folks understand this at a much younger age. Now, for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I'm on a little bit of a different trail. No, I'm on the same trail, it's just a little bit. The sun's gone down a little bit more than when I was out here. I was out here yesterday actually trying to record this video a second time. So, my mother taught me to have good morals, values, and ethics, and to love everyone, no matter what. Even if people don't love me, I should love them, no matter what. Be good to people. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Sounds like a great thing to me, right? If everyone agreed with that principle, no one would ever fight. The world would be a perfect place, right? But it's far from perfect, right? But when you're a little kid and you have no experience, all you have to go on is what your mother's raising you to go on, and your father's raising you to go on. That's what you go with, right? That's you assume everyone's going to be like that, but not everyone's like that. Not everyone's raised the way I was raised. So what happened? These kids would pick on me. They would tease me. They would call me names. They made fun of my name, Elias. They're like, what the hell is an Elias? And that hurt my feelings. I mean, like, seriously, like when you're, under 10 years old and someone says, what the hell is an Elias? You feel like, why the hell did my parents give me this weird name, right? I love my name today, by the way, let me tell you. As I got older, people would say, your name's unique, it's biblical. It is biblical. I was named after the prophet Elijah. But when you're in grammar school and these kids are just looking to create any amount of entertainment at your expense or anyone else's expense, they're going to just find anything and everything, right? The thing is, whether you allow it to bother you or not is what's going to keep it going or not. But I didn't realize that back then. I was under 10 years old. I went to my parents, I was whining. Why'd you name me Elias? You were named after your grandfather, my father's son. Your name is a good name. It's a great name. You're named after the prophet Elijah. And at that point, I was like, big whoop-de-doo. I said, well, can we change it anyway, Dad? No. You should be proud of your name, son. Be proud to be Greek. I said, I'm Greek. No, you're not Greek American, you're Greek. I'm like, no, I'm Greek American. I was born here. Oh, man, I was a piece of work back then. Let me tell you that. But I was trying to figure out what was causing these issues. I'm a good guy. I love to play sports. I'm an outgoing person. Why are these people picking on me? Well, the more and more they would pick on me, the more and more I would react to that. I'd say, please stop picking on me. Please, can you please stop picking on me? And the more and more you say, please stop picking on me, the more and more they're going to pick on you because they know it gets to you. The only way to stop it is to ignore them and move forward. And no matter how much they try to come at you, which, once they figure out they can get to you once, even if you start ignoring them, they're going to be like, okay, we can make them crack, right? You can't let them allow you to crack. Once you start ignoring them, you go into indefinite ignore mode, and they're going to keep coming at you for a while, but after a while they'll get bored and they'll go on, they'll move on. I didn't realize that back then because my mother taught me to love everyone, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, right? Whether they're good or bad. I didn't know what indifferent meant back then. I was under 10 years old, so let's just say good or bad. You should love everyone's son, whether they're good or bad. Be good to everyone. Treat people the way you want to be treated. All right. Now, my father was, working back then, 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. My mother was the, they guys back then. Nowadays, they have a more professional, modern-friendly word that they use called homemaker. We can't even say housewife anymore. We say homemaker. Sounds much more enlightening. We've got fancy words for everything nowadays. Goodness gracious, I gotta tell you. So anyway. So yeah, all through, first through 8th grade, I was being picked on. And my parents, by the time I got to, I think it was 6th grade. How old was I? I think I was like in the mid 80s or something like that. I can't remember exactly. The school I was going to, a private school, recommended that I get some counseling. Okay. I must have been really messed up. Maybe to a certain extent I still am, but anyway, I think we're all a little messed up in some way, shape, or form, but that's what makes us unique and different, right? So they recommended me to go counseling, right? And my father was like, okay, we're going to find our son, to my mom, we're going to find our son the best counselor money can buy. Money's no object when it comes to taking care of my sons. God, my dad spent an astronomical amount of money on my brother and I trying to raise us to perfection. God rest your soul, Dad. Love you to death, man, but you spent way the hell too much money. Way too much money, man. I felt guilty about as a little kid the amount of money my dad would spend to try to make my brother and I the best kids in the world. Wow. So anyway, I'm almost halfway done actually. And we are at 29 minutes. Okay, cool. Let's just stop right here for a second. Why is hunting allowed in a national wildlife refuge? Look at this. I think this is the perfect time to record. Just absolutely beautiful. There's Highway 101 over there. Let's continue. Oh, we got some doggies on the trail here. Hey, buddy. It's all right. Hi. All right, couple cool dogs there on the trail. It's all good. So, I didn't want to go see a counselor, a therapist, because I felt I didn't need one. I just wanted to figure out what it's going to take for these kids to stop. I didn't think I was broken. Was I really broken? So my dad found this counselor. I remember his name, Dr. Bienenstock. I don't think he's even alive anymore. So if you guys want to try to find Dr. Bienenstock and ask him about me, that's on you. Dr. Bienenstock had the nicest office in a town called Palo Alto, California, which is a few cities south of where I'm pointing now here in Redwood City. Palo Alto, one of the best cities to live in the entire country, one of the safest cities to live in. So he had a nice office. You walk into his office, leather chairs, leather couches, just really nice floor, walls, everything. I mean, this place was decked out. For mid-80s, this was top notch. So I went in there the first time, and I met him. Hello, Dr. Bienenstock, nice to meet you. I was raised with manners, right? Hello, Elias, how you doing today? I'm doing quite well, Dr. Bienenstock, thank you. I was a little bit shyer. Obviously I'm older now, I'm more confident, right? But I'm doing fine, Dr. Bienenstock, right? So tell me about what's going on, Elias, says Dr. Bienenstock. That name, Dr. Bienenstock. I've never forgotten that name, man. I still talk about Dr. Bienenstock with my mother every now and then. So I would tell Dr. Bienenstock what's going on. Dr. Bienenstock, I'm being teased. I'm asking the kids politely to stop and blah, 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 this, that, right? They just keep coming. Well, tell me a little bit more about what's going on in detail, Elias. I just explained it in detail. In my head, I think I just explained it in detail. So I said the same thing again. These kids are teasing me. I tell them to stop. They won't stop. I don't know what more to do, So tell me, why do you think that they're teasing you? I'm looking for answers. Now this guy, his fees back in the mid-80s were $100. Were $100 a session for a 1-hour session. This is in the mid-80s. Let's compare that to modern day. This guy would cost about $400 to $500 an hour in 2020 here in the Bay Area. Just compare it. This was 1985. 35 years ago. My parents are paying $100 an hour, which is comparable to $400 or $500 an hour today, for this guy to ask me all these questions and not give me any answers on how to solve the issues he's being paid for. So to make a long story short on this aspect, I started complaining to my parents. Dr. Bienenstock is not helping me out. He just keeps asking me more questions. He wants more details. He wants me to just, tell him more than is even happening. What am I supposed to do? Mom, Dad, make things up? He's not helping me out. I don't feel like going anymore. I'm not getting anything out of it. If I got something out of it, I wouldn't have been complaining, but it was a waste of time and money. It was a waste of time for myself, my mother that would drive me to and from the sessions, and a waste of money that my dad was working hard to create 14, 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Again, I was like, Jesus, Dad, I don't mind you spending money for the kids, for us kids, to help us, grow up to be good kids. But if something's just not worth it, come on, man. I even realized that back in those days. I think I was 12 years old at that point. 1985, 73, 11, 12 years old. Let me just come around here. It's interesting. I think this trail has gotten a little bit smaller because I think things are starting to overgrow a little bit. They're going to have to come in here and kind of chop things out. And it's starting to get a little bit darker. And there are some people on the observation deck. I hope they start heading out by the time I get up there, because I want to show you folks the observation deck. So to make a long story short, I stopped going to Dr. Beanstalk. So what ended up happening after that point, I went to 2 different grammar schools. I've never shared this story before. I'll share it again. I went to 2 different grammar schools. By the way, I know there's a hole in my gloves. I've already purchased a brand new set. I'm just going to wear these down until they just don't work anymore. So don't mind my lack of professionalism. You can laugh at it if you want in 4K at 60 frames per second. But I, 1st through 6th grade, I went to 1 grammar school. And then my parents decided for junior high to take me out of that private grammar school and put me in a different private grammar school to see, if things would get better for me. That was a crossroad. Now, I'm not going to hit the observation deck because there are lots of people up there and they're looking at the beautiful scenery. I'm just going to show you folks from this angle, right over here. I mean, it's a beautiful observation deck. I'll come back another time, but I think I can show you folks from over here. It's a lot nicer going up there, but at least you can see the water over there, and that is the observation deck. So we're going to start heading back. I'll do another video at some point and show you that observation deck. So what happened when I went to a different private grammar school for 7th and 8th grade? For junior high. They call 7th and 8th grade junior high. You want to guess what happened? I'll tell you. Same exact thing. I was being picked on. I was being teased. I would tell these kids, can you stop picking on me, please, blah, 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 right? At that point, if I look back now, my parents started to see a pattern. Where's the real issue? Is it the kids or is it me? Or is it a combination of both? Well, the kids should not be picking on you. But kids are going to be kids, right? And as a kid growing up, you have to have some tolerance for that because you're probably going to be picking on other people as well. The difference with me is I never picked on anybody. I never picked on anybody at all. I've never picked on anybody in my life. All I've ever done in my life is defended myself. But has that been the right thing to do with many, if not most people? When you defend yourself against people that are picking on you, that's what they want. That's what fuels their fire. Any attention you give those types of people is going to fuel their fire to come at you harder. And those types of people, there are plenty of them everywhere. They're not the type of people that I want to associate with, be friends with, or hang out with. But the difference when you're in grammar school and junior high, you want to be cool. You want to hang out with the cool guys and the cool gals, right? And the cool guys and the cool gals are picking on everybody. They're picking on the non-cool people, right? Well, for me, I would have gotten better along hanging out with the people that were perceived as the non-cool people, because there were other people that weren't picking on anyone, but they were seen as the geeky, nerdy type of people, right? And I wanted to be with the cool people, right? What I didn't realize that I realize now in life is that the geeky people are the cool people, and the cool were just not even geeky or anything. They just were insecure, immature people. Very insecure people. So in essence, for those of you that have been following me for a while, in essence, growing up, I dealt with a lot of the same things that happened to me on YouTube over the last 3.5 to 4 years, until I started to figure out that, you know what, these trolls and haters out here on YouTube that were attacking me were just like the grammar school kids that were teasing me, and they weren't going to stop until I ignored them and not give them anything, right? They had to be put on indefinite ignore, no matter how much they would keep on trying to reel me back in. So I started to realize that, hey, you know, there's probably something wrong with me, because now I went to a different school, the same thing's happening. I didn't realize it back then, but my parents were realizing it. They're like, oh, okay, we see what's going on. The truth of the matter is, the real issue, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming my mom or dad. I love my mom and dad to death. My father's in a better place now, obviously. And my mom's still around. She's 70. I love you to death, Mom, but the bottom line is you raised me to be too kind to people. There's a plane flying above. I don't think you can see that. I wonder how the 4K is going to look at that. It's 60 frames per second. That's pretty cool. You raised me to be too nice, Mom. You raised me to be good to people that, you know, weren't being good to me. And from a morals, values, and ethics standpoint, and having a good heart and being a God-loving person, and us being God-loving people, I understand your intentions, but that's not what people respond to. People don't respond. These types of people that haven't been raised with these same morals, values, and ethics, they don't respond to kind people like the people in our family, Mom. And that's the thing. That right there was the issue. I got so much nurturing love from my mother, and I was raised to be so good to people, to the point of where I just didn't stand up for myself against the bullies and the kids that were teasing me. I didn't realize that, hey, in some cases, you know, they were teasing me because they actually liked me. If I look back now, you know, if they were to say, what the hell's an Elias, I'd say, yeah, you're just jealous because you don't have my name. My name's unique. What's your name? Jennifer, Bob, Lewis? No disrespect to you, Lewis Fuller. I love you, man. Just an example. But you guys all have pretty much common names. I've got a unique biblical name. You see, instead of handling it that way, which would have put me in a different position with these people, I whined like a little female dog. Why are you picking on me? Done nothing to you, right? Now let's fast forward to high school. So I figured, you know, going to high school would change things. New people, right? My dad wanted to put my brother and I in private high school too. We went to Sarah High School in San Mateo, California. A lot of famous athletes came out of Sarah. Barry Bonds, Lynn Swan, Greg Jeffries, Tom Brady, many others. Great school. You learn a lot of discipline. I certainly did learn a lot of discipline at Sarah, but I didn't start applying the discipline I learned at Sarah until probably in my early 30s. So what happened when I went to Sarah? Freshman year at Sarah was a heck of a year. Because the same thing started happening again with new people. I was getting picked on and teased. And I was saying, why are you picking on me? No, the same thing, right? It's another crossroad here, right? Now, Sarah, during your freshman year, they call it Sarah Sarah freshmen. They call this warts, W-A-R-T, wart. And whenever we would go to have a football rally in the gym or something like that, they would let the seniors in first, then the juniors, then the sophomores, and then last would be the freshmen. And as the freshmen would walk in, all the rest of the classes, the juniors, the seniors, and then the sophomores would say wart, 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 wart. It was like a loud kingdom of, testosterone-filled dudes saying wart. Now, I failed to mention, Sarah was an all-boys high school. Sarah was an all-boys high school. Testosterone-filled is an understatement. So, what happened? People kept picking on me. They kept on teasing me. This one dude, I think this was towards the end of my freshman year. He threatened to bring a gun to school and shoot me. I told my family about that. I told everyone about that, right? I told the principal, everyone, right? Next thing you know, a few days later, this dude brings a gun to school. Oh, yeah, he did. I think it was like a BB gun or something. It wasn't loaded, right? He brings his gun to school and he goes, "Hey, Elias, look at this." And he shows me this. He shows me his piece. And I'm just pooping in my pants. Try to keep it advertiser friendly. I'm shitting bricks. What do? I didn't tell the teacher. I didn't want the guy to see me, right? When the class ended, I just ran to the principal's office and I told him that this guy brought a gun to shoot me. I remember the guy's name. I'm not going to mention his last name, but his name was Jeff. And it's not my friend Jeff that it's not my friend Jeff that's been on my channel in the past. Some of you follow my people very closely. This is a different Jeff. I'm not going to mention his last name. So what happened? Apparently, a few days later, I didn't see the guy around. Apparently, they brought him to the office that day, and they suspended him. And they were talking with his parents and all that. Next thing you know, they expelled the guy for bringing a gun to school, threatening to shoot me. So to you trolls and haters out there, you have no idea what I've been through in life just because I'm a good dude, I'm a good man. Now, I've learned to handle myself a lot better, and I've learned to understand that a lot of teasing and joking is just that. It's just entertainment. It's just a term of endearment. But I didn't realize that back in those days. I guess in essence, one of the reasons why I've been able to handle the trolls and haters out here on YouTube so much is because of the fact that I've experienced all this in my real life outside of YouTube growing up. And for those of you out there that say, "Oh, Eli's not a coach. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't experienced things." I've got more experiences in life than you could ever imagine. I can tell you stories for days, weeks, months, years. I'd never run out of stuff to talk about. That's how much I've been through. I've just got to show you folks, it's getting a little darker. That's the moon over there. Oh my God, that is incredible. Oh my God, look at the sky. I have got to get footage of this. This is incredible. nice. I love living out here. You look over there, there's Highway 101, the freeway. I gotta tell you folks, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. So yeah, I've had a lot of experiences in life. So let me tell you the rest of the story because I'm heading back. Got to wrap this up within 30 minutes. That's when I'll be back in my car. We're at 50 minutes right now, almost 51 minutes on the video. So what ended up happening after that? People heard about it, but they kept on picking on me. They're like, you got Jeff expelled, you got Jeff expelled. And I kept on saying, what do you mean I got Jeff expelled? He brought a gun to school to threaten to shoot me. What do you mean I got Jeff expelled? Jeff expelled himself. Now, I was like, 15 at that point? I was a freshman in high school. And I was even smart enough to realize I did nothing wrong. This dude just wanted to entertain these people, you know? So they kept on picking on me. And there were two people that would pick on me more than anyone. I'm not going to mention their names, but I'll mention the first letter of their last name. They were twins. These guys were twins. They were the A brothers. A was their last name. And the A brothers were, well, the A makes sense in this case. The A brothers were AHs. They were. You know what an AH is, right? I'm trying to appease the YouTube algorithm here. Hello, Team YouTube. I hope you're enjoying my videos in case this goes to manual review. Thank you for this wonderful platform. Anyway, so the A brothers would pick on me, and one of them would pick on me more than the other one. Oh, there's a plane coming. Let's check that out. Let's see if we can... I wonder if the microphone's going to pick that up. I had to turn the shot away because somebody was coming on the other side of the trail. I'm curious to see how this footage is going to turn out. All right, so one of the A brothers would pick on me more than the other one. But what the A brothers didn't know is that I had a family friend that was, he was a senior at that time. When I was a freshman, he was a senior. His name was John. And the way I met John, my family and his family, my mom and dad and his mom and dad, we all met through our Greek Orthodox church out here in the Bay Area. And, you know, I was friends. There's another plane coming. This is pretty cool. Let me see if we can see that. I wonder if we can see it. I wonder if it'll pick it up. I hope I'm right on point. That is just amazing. It's amazing the kind of footage you can get with an iPhone, a selfie stick, and a little mini shotgun microphone as an external microphone. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful, isn't it? I love where I live. I seriously love where I live. And I have a feeling this video is going to turn out really nice. I think I got the settings dialed in finally. So, yeah, my family was friends with John's family, for many, many years before, we all went to Sarah High School. My brother and myself, my brother started a year after me. He's 15 months younger. When I was a sophomore, my brother was a freshman. I had the pleasure of calling my brother a wart for a full year. Boy, that was fun. I guess. I really wasn't into the teasing and all that, right? But it was just a thing to do, right? But anyway, so one of the A brothers would tease me more than the other. And my friend John would check in with me from time to time, asking me, "Hey, is everything okay? I see some guys are picking on you, man, and you're not instigating them. You're just being cool, and they're picking on you. Let me know who these guys are, and I'll handle them." I'm like, "No, dude, it's all good, right?" You don't want somebody fighting your own battles for you, right? As a man, that makes you feel like you're less of a man, even at that age. You just don't want to deal with the fact that these kids are going to tease you that someone else is fighting your battles for you, right? Wow, look at that. This is going to be beautiful. Wow. That's going to San Carlos Airport right nearby. I bet you can still see that. Wow. Lots of planes flying in right now. All right. It's a beautiful night. I'm going to take off my glasses right now because the sun's going down. It's still bright enough. I mean, this is the perfect time to record a video, I have to say. And I can tell, looking at the phone right now, using the auto exposure while you're walking is the best setting for it. Now, when you are, recording videos that are stationary, then you want to dial everything in. But when you're moving around and the lighting conditions are changing on the fly, you got to use auto exposure, auto focus. You got to use auto everything, especially if you're vlogging. So anyway, yeah, John was asking me, tell me who's bugging me. Tell me who's bugging. Tell me who's bugging you, Eli. I mean, tell me who's bugging you. Kept telling him, don't worry about it, right? John didn't believe me. John is very protective of me because, he knew my family. He still knows my family. We're still good friends to this day. But he was like an older brother I never had. Now, I was the oldest of two boys in my family, so I was the older brother than my brother. But I had no older brother to look up to. That's where John came in. He had like 3 years of experience on me. I remember one day, I was in the hallway by my locker. And the lockers were in the hallway. Oh, there's another plane coming. I don't know if I can see this. I don't know how well that turned out because that came like right above me, and I just couldn't get. But I think it's looking okay right now. It's incredible. It's incredible what you can do with an iPhone selfie stick and a little mini external shotgun microphone. You can create professional videos. All right, so yeah, I was in the hallway, and one of the A brothers, the one that would pick on me, he was at his locker at the same time, but a couple hundred feet the other way, which is where his locker was at. And my friend John just happened to be around there. He's like, "Hey, Elias, how you doing?" "I'm doing all right." "Is that the guy that's bugging you? I've been watching. I know you haven't told me to watch, but you're like a big, you're like a little brother to me. I've been watching. Is that the guy that's been picking on you?" I'm like, "John, no, man, it's not a big deal, dude. That's not him. Don't lie to me, Elias. I can kick your you-know-what, right?" And John was a big dude, strong dude, good-looking guy, confident guy. The guy would get all the chicks, right? Like, you didn't mess with John. John was a nice guy, big heart, wouldn't hurt a fly. But if he had to whoop some you-know-what, he would whoop some you-know-what, right? And when I was lying to John because he was trying to be a good, friend and help me, he threatened to whoop my you-know-what, and I deserved it. He goes, I can whoop your you-know-what, right? I'm trying to minimize my cussing on here, but he actually said the word. I said, yeah, John, that's him. Stay here. I'm going to go handle this. Oh, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So he goes up to the A brother that's been bothering me and goes, "You've been bothering my friend Elias?" No. I can hear this, right? I'm a couple hundred feet away, I can hear this. Well, that's not what I hear. "You've been bothering my friend Elias? Tell me the truth." No, I haven't bothered him at all. Well, I've seen you bother him all the time, and I don't like how you're treating him. And then the A brother gets all cocky. Now you gotta understand, this is a freshman with my senior friend who's way bigger than him, stronger, right? And John's like looking at him, staring him down, right? And then John's like, "Come on, man, tell me the truth before I make you tell me the truth." Because John tries to give you the easy way out. John tries to be nice. He tries a nice approach. The nice approach don't work, then we're going to get down, right? So the A brother goes to John. He goes, "What are you going to do about it?" "All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do about it." And this is the funny part. In the hallways, wow, the lighting is just absolutely amazing right here. I don't know if it's the sky or the moon, but the lighting is just freaking incredible. I don't know if you can see the moon up here. Look at that. This is the perfect night to record 4K video at 60 frames per second. Look at this. And that's the backside of the trail. And that's the freeway on-ramp over there. It's another way you can enter this trail over there. I'll show you as we go by, but they're going to have a separate trail that's going to be probably the new Bay Trail. That's a Bay Trail right alongside here. This trail will probably still be here, but this is going to be probably the new part of the Bay Trail, because where the Bay Trail goes now, I've done this walk before. It goes right alongside the freeway, and I've done some walking streams and walking videos right by the freeway, but it's kind of noisy. I mean, you can still hear the video, but it gets kind of noisy. All right, now this is another entrance to this trail right here. So if you want to enter from right here, you can. But I like to drive all the way around and park at Barrow Island and enter the other way. It gives you, it gives you a little more distance. I really love this trail. One of my favorite local trails that I can go on any given day. So yeah, at Sarah, in the hallways, they had these carpeted walls, and then the lockers were in between certain parts of the walls, but certain parts didn't have a locker. They just had carpeted walls. But what was behind that piece of carpet? It was a hollow frame with a piece of plywood on the frame. A piece of like not super thin plywood, but like, flexible plywood. And then a piece of carpet over that. So if you were to throw somebody up against that wall, they would bounce up, right? So when the A brother was telling John, what you gonna do about it? John's like, all right, man, you asked for it. And then John starts throwing him up against the wall. Like 10 times in a row, he bounced him like a basketball. Someone's going to cut this. And this A brother that was picking on me was getting just manhandled like a basketball up against his wall. Now, John does not believe in violence. John's not a violent guy. I don't believe in violence either. But this dude needed to learn his lesson, right? So John goes, have you had enough? It's like, yeah, man, what do you want? I want you to leave my friend Elias alone, not only for the rest of this year, but for the rest of the years in high school. And John was thinking ahead. He's like, he knew he was a senior. He knew he was going to be graduating, and so did the A brother. And John's like, listen, I'm graduating this year. Don't think just because I'm not going to be here that I can't be here at any given point. I live nearby. So if you're thinking about picking on Elias next year, sophomore, junior, senior year, trust me, I'll find out about it even if Elias doesn't tell me. And I'll be paying you a visit. I'm looking and I'm like, on one hand, I was like, oh man, this is embarrassing. On the other hand, I was like laughing because John was setting this guy straight. And to make a long story short, after that, some people still picked on me a little bit. Like the A brothers stopped picking on me. But when it came to sophomore year, the more and more people that would pick on me, like if they try to pick on me, the A brothers would go and tell them about John. Oh, and what I forgot to mention is that John also had, probably still this day, still has the same friends. He had like a group of 6 or 7 other, friends, guy friends, because Sarah was an all-boys school, that were big and strong. They were all good guys, but they were all big guys, strong guys that you wouldn't want to mess with, right? So the A brothers knew that it wasn't that they would have to deal with it with all his friends, right? So anytime someone tried to pick on me sophomore year, the A brothers would say, hey, look, just leave him alone. It's not worth it. He's got protection. And these guys stopped messing with me. To the point of where my junior and senior year, I had amazing years. And I'm going to not get too far into that story because this video is getting long enough. And I'm almost back on my car. Maybe I'll do a second video. Just share some more details of my high school experiences and stuff like that pertain to these topics. But I'll tell you this. I learned my lesson on how to handle people that tease me. More so better from my family friend John than my mother and father. With no disrespect to my mother and father, it took John doing what he did to teach me a lesson on how to handle people that are teasing you and ripping on you. We used to call it ripping back in those days. And the lesson that John taught me wasn't about violence. It wasn't about, having to beat someone up. And John did not beat up the A brother. John just shook him up a little bit, right? He didn't hurt him, didn't break any bones, nothing. He wasn't trying to do anything. He was trying to teach him a lesson. Back in my days, if you're out of line, your father would whip out the belt and whip you, right? And spank you, right? That's the way that kids learn. Nowadays, you give your child a little discipline and they tell their teacher, the teacher calls the cops, and then the cops are at your house taking your kids from you and you go to jail. It's ridiculous. That's why our kids nowadays don't ever learn discipline, because we're not even allowed to discipline our kids anymore to teach them what's right and what's wrong. It's the only way they understand. It's the only way I understood. And it's the only way that this A brother guy understood that, hey, picking on people for no reason when they don't even antagonize you is stupid. There's a Courtyard by Marriott over there. I don't know how well this camera can pick it up from over here. I'm sure if any smartphone can pick it up, it's this one. Now this is definitely going to be using the low light compensation here. There's the moon. Auto exposure is on. I'm going to be curious how well this works, but it seems to be working just fine with the auto exposure. It's just amazing. Look at that. Now when I go lower, the exposure even gives me a little more lighting. When I go up, it's like more of a cinematic look. I can just do this, right? How cool is that angle? There's a lot that I'm going to be bringing to you folks. But yeah, I didn't learn to be violent. I learned to stand up for myself. I learned to stand up for myself, and I learned to walk away and ignore people. From John. And that completely changed my life. Now, I'll say one more thing real quick here. There are many other crossroads that I encountered in life, with relationships, with like I said, dating relationships, with jobs, transitioning from the corporate world to being self-employed. I think I'm gonna have to do a part 2 of this video, and I'll release that part 2 after I get part 1 edited, uploaded, and published. Because it's too much for one video. It'll probably take you'll probably get a second hour and 20 minute 4K video at 60 frames per second from me. One more time, because there's a lot. There's just a lot to share, and I want you folks to really know who you're dealing with and how I'm qualified to help you and how much knowledge I have based on the tremendous amount of past experiences I've had. I can really help you folks. But again, I didn't learn to be violent from John. I learned to stand up for myself, and I learned how to ignore and walk away and not let things get to me. I learned to also take these things as a term of endearment. Now, I already said that, I kind of backtracked. But anyway, I'm just going to fast forward. The same things have happened to me out here on YouTube. I had a former channel I used to run called Coach Eli, Uncompromising Business and Personal Relationship Coaching. Ran that for a couple years, shut it down a couple years ago, came back and started this channel 3 months after I shut down the former channel. Between both channels, I was getting heavily trolled. And what ended up happening is I slipped back to my old ways of how I handled these things in my grammar school and high school days before I learned my lesson from my family friend John. I didn't realize that being on YouTube and social media, especially if you're trying to run trolls and haters and people teasing you in the same ways they did in grammar school and high school, and you have to just handle it the same way. It took me 3.5 years to figure that out here on YouTube, and it did set me back for a little bit, but I finally figured it out 6 months ago, and I walked away from it, and I've been ignoring it. And let me tell you folks, when you ignore these trolls and haters, you give them nothing. They have nothing left if you don't give them anything. If you keep feeding into them, you keep fueling their fire with new content, especially out here on YouTube. You talk about them in your videos, you mention them by name and this and that, and then they make videos of you and they chop things up and they take things out of context, yada, 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 yada. The moment you stop giving them that is the moment that they're going to stop. And I had to learn that lesson again because I didn't realize that the digital world, especially YouTube, is no different than real life. It's just the digital version of it. So if I'm going to teach you folks anything on how to handle yourself on social media, especially if you're looking to run a business, if you're just out here to create drama, then that's what you're here for. I want nothing to do with drama people. But if you're out here to grow a business, you handle yourself the same way on YouTube as you do in real life, or as you have in real life running your business outside the online world. Well, now it's all gone online, but we used to run our businesses all offline before the internet came out. Now we're kind of doing both, or even just shifting primarily to online. Let me show you just a little more footage here before we go. I don't know how well the auto exposure is doing. This is the area. Some nice apartments out here. Man, that car is flying. Jesus, man. You got these millennials living out here in these nice places because they work in high tech. And they just like to run it down a 25 zone. If there's a kid out there, they're gonna hurt a kid. But this is the area here. So that's gonna do it, folks. An hour and 17 minutes right now, maybe a little bit longer with some intro to this video that I'm gonna add, my normal intro. I'm just looking at my iPhone screen and I'm just really impressed with how well the auto exposure and auto focus is keeping me as clear as possible. I mean, when it's nighttime like this, it's not easy to get a shot. You're gonna get a little bit of grain, but like I've never seen performance like this from any other smartphone than the iPhone. I'm just really, really impressed with the low light compensation for the auto exposure. Just amazing. All right, folks, I'm gonna get on out of here. Let's see if I can find a spot where I get some good lighting on me. I'm gonna get on out of here. Have yourselves a great night. I'll see you all next time. There'll be a part 2 coming of this video. Take care. Bye-bye.